The information shared on CNS Unfiltered is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any health or lifestyle changes. The views shared are those of guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Innate Clinical Nutrition or its affiliates. This episode includes affiliate links, which help support the show. Hello and welcome. I am Jena Salisbury, and this is CNS Unfiltered, a show where clinical nutrition specialists uncover what traditional medicine overlooks. While gut health is almost always where I start with clients who come to me to resolve their health concerns, the topic of weight loss inevitably comes up most of the time. Sometimes it's a client's main concern. Other times they'll say something like, yeah, if I lost some weight too, that'll be great. It can definitely be an outcome that accompanies the resolution of deeper health concerns. Not every client needs to lose weight to optimize their health. But for clients that want to or need to lose weight, they're coming to me for the exact reasons other clients do. They've abandoned traditional medicine, or traditional medicine has abandoned them. They're exhausted, frustrated, and emotional. Sometimes they're eating really well. They're even exercising, and they're seeing no results. The internet is full of pseudoscience and life hackery bullshit, to quote Ian Rubin, our guest on episode 5. But it also has information on so many different emerging weight loss drugs and treatment plans that clients don't even know where to start. This is where a CNS can really make a difference for clients. Finding the root cause of why you aren't losing weight helps to sift through all the different available solutions and actually find the one that works for you. If you think you're doing all the right things and you're seeing no improvements, or worse, you're actually gaining weight or symptoms are worsening, then there's a root cause that needs to be found. Otherwise, you're just throwing darts at the wall and hoping one would find the target, and the outcome is often worsening the problem. Today's episode is really special to me because we're talking to Aaron Hovanec, a kinesiologist and weight loss expert working at Age Management of West Michigan. He is also my first mentor. Aaron was, and honestly still is, my go-to for any questions. His vast knowledge of different functional modalities and treatments, and his extensive firsthand experience working with clients of all kinds were invaluable to me as I began building my own practice. Aaron's wisdom allowed me to take the reins for the first few years and make confident decisions when creating their protocols, but was also there as a fallback if I needed someone to check my math. Boy, we know that happened a few times. Or my treatment plan was missing something. I could depend on Aaron to steer me in the right direction. I learned so much with him over the years we built the functional medicine department of Age Management, going to conferences and functional forums and really learning how to build a functional practice from the ground up, with our first focus of expanding the weight loss programs and treatments. Working with him also helped uncover my own passion for teaching and program development, which is part of the reason I started this podcast in the first place. Today, Aaron joins me for a conversation all about the progression of weight loss treatment. We'll unpack the validity and the science of some different treatment options, in addition to going through the general progression of weight management treatment throughout the last few decades. Whether you're a future CNS practitioner with a passion for weight loss or questions about different available modalities to help clients, or you're a listener on your own weight loss journey, this episode is for you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CNS Unfiltered. We have Erin Hovanec here, one of our special features. And Erin has come to us from Age Management of West Michigan, so located right here in my hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is a super special guest for me. Erin was my mentor, still is, if you ask me. He's still who I will chat with. And so he's taught me a lot of foundational things of what I know. And when we started working together, 2011, 2012, it was weight loss, right? So weight loss seems to be what every office really starts with. We lose weight. And the thought is our health improves, our lab numbers get better, which in one breath is true. And it is a very important piece to the puzzle when we are working with health. Is weight loss the cause of the dysregulation inside of the body, the too much calories? Is that the cause? Or is there something going on inside the body, whether it's gut health or metabolic or genetic, that is causing this weight gain? So thank you for joining us so much, Erin. Thanks for being here. And we're going to deep dive into the history and progression of weight loss, kind of starting with what was used with the phentermine. And yes, I still have people ask me if our physician will prescribe that, coming into what I believe Erin still uses and what I used for years of HCG, moving into maybe some peptides and our new GLP-1 antagonists. So thank you so much for being here, Erin.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Can you give a little bit of background for our audience today?
Yeah, I mean, my background's all in kinesiology, exercise sciences. So, I mean, I've been in the weight loss, health, and industry for probably over 30 years. My first 10 to 15 was in a role more of the wellness industry. I was an athletic director. I ran a personal training. I still have a personal training business. So for 15 years, I helped people lose weight, primarily through the key things: lifestyle, diet, exercise, promoting healthy lifestyle habits. About the last 16 years, I've been with Age Management, where I've been lucky enough, where I've had the ability to pretty much use every tool out there that's available for weight loss. If there's a peptide, medication, drug, yeah, I've had experience working with patients. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. So I'm still a firm believer, just like Jena is, the key basics, lifestyle are still the key. Things like HCG, phentermine, GLP-1, those are just tools to make it more successful.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. So we're going to start old school. We're going to start with phentermine. And I know people are probably like, what? Does this still even exist? But you will not believe how many people still want that. And so phentermine is an appetite suppressant and is working down more through that central nervous system. And so if we are having a suppression of the central nervous system or a speed up of the adrenaline, I believe it is, sure, we'll get some weight, but we are negatively impacting our body composition for the long term. You want to speak on that?
I mean, my
It's a
experience with phentermine, I've never recommended it for one patient ever that I've worked with. I've had a lot of patients use it. It works maybe for about a month or two, and then it doesn't really work anymore. Yeah, very old school. It is still around because I think a lot of physicians don't really know much about weight loss, and it's one of the only tools they kind of remember from med school. But yeah, it's always going to be available. It's a very short-term depressant, but Jenna knows this too. Suppressing appetite is not really a big variable in weight loss. It's still eating the right foods and non-inflammatory lifestyle, nutrient timing. So yeah, I mean, less calories and not eating as much is not really beneficial for most people. So yeah, it's not something I've ever, really recommended for most. I really don't really recommend a whole lot of appetite suppressants for a lot of people, unless they're secondary, like with the GLP-1s.
Yeah, definitely. Right there with you. And so anytime we have a suppression and we're just kind of cutting those calories, we're cutting a lot of muscle too. And so the rebound of that is just not very beneficial. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on phentermine. I just wanted to throw it in there. I had two clients ask me last week, so it was just fresh on my mind. I'm like, I can't believe this is still being asked
And,
about.
and, and it's going to still pop up on Google when everybody does a search to say, hey, what are the weight loss drugs? Phentermine's still going to be one of the first ones to pop up. just because it's a pharmaceutical.
True. True enough. And people are still looking for insurance based. The new modalities, right? They're expensive. So I guess that does make sense why people are still resorting and physicians would still resort into recommending or taking phentermine. So I'm going to move into, I know, one of our favorites, one that I've had a lot of time with. Obviously, you've had even more, but that is HCG. So human chorionic gonadotrophin. So I'm going to keep that spotlight back on you, Aaron. Break it down for us. Why is it good? How is it good? How is it bad?
I mean, ACG has a lot of different benefits in the body, mimics luteinizing hormone in men. So I think we see better results in men because they do get a little testosterone boost along with it too. Yeah, ACG has been around for a long time. It's one of those weight loss drugs where it's promoting a benefit of releasing stored body fat. You turn on the weight loss with the low calorie diet. So ACG is one of those protocols. And, you've worked with probably hundreds, thousands of patients too when you worked with me, Jenna. Yeah, you really got to have the diet to turn on the drug. And that's with a lot of these weight loss drugs. Other than the new GLP-1s, you can get away with not doing it. But with HCG, if you do the HCG and it stimulates that release of stored body fat, you combine it with the low calorie diet, which is basically making your metabolism use that stored body fat, you can see really great results with it. Um, why it's gotten such a bad reputation, I don't know. I remember Big Pharma was really trying to get it out of the market back in the early 2000s when it was really popular, and that's when a lot of the stuff got shut down with it. Um, so yeah, I'm not real sure why. I've seen nothing but success with it, and people tell me, Aaron, is it's probably just the low calorie diet that's causing the weight loss. No, I've done low calorie diets with people. You don't see 5 pounds of weight loss in a week with just following a low calorie diet. So it definitely has a stimulatory effect, releasing effect of storing a body fat. My theory, and there's no good research out there, is it turns on the beta receptors of the fat cells, which stimulates that release of stored body fat, which most individuals are not. Their body's in more of an alpha receptor based thing where they're storing body fat and they can diet, exercise, and do all that. But if you're not releasing the stored fat, you're just not going to utilize it. So no, HCG is still one of my go-tos. It's the best for that hormonally controlled body fat. We work with a lot of females postmenopausal, even premenopausal, where they have storage of the body fat around the midsection, hips, and thighs. That's really been the most amazing thing we've seen with HCG is its ability to target that hormonally controlled, its ability to target that visceral fat. And on top of that, yeah, we see very low loss of lean muscle, and we monitor that. We do BIA assessments. Jenna's worked with many of the patients. We could see 30 pounds of weight loss in like a 10-week window. And when we run the BIAs, and I've probably got thousands of these on record, yeah, we'll see that like 90% of the weight loss was body fat, 10% or less was muscle. And that's an amazing ratio compared to like 60-40, what you'll see with any other traditional diet program. So, no, I've seen it firsthand time and time again. I tell individuals that, if you don't follow the diet, you're not going to see the results with it. So no, for a dietary plan, if you stick with it, it's probably been the one tool I've seen where you can see the most weight loss in the shortest period of time. And it's actually quality weight loss. It's not muscle. Um, it's not just water weight. It's been really good. And there's like minimal side effects. I mean, the side effects on AC, I can't think of maybe a handful of people over the last 17 years that I really didn't use it with, other than a couple guy patients with prostate because we didn't want to stimulate testosterone. But actual issues with the drug, yeah, that's been very minimal. So yeah, the safety profile, the limit of side effects, yeah, I think it's a very effective weight loss. If you go online, I mean, if you look at Mayo Clinic, they have a post and it's like you're sticking rat poison in you. They're like, don't go near HCG. So I don't understand how it's gotten such a horrible rap because there's no documented patient issues or side effects or any these horror stories people have had with the drugs, like you've seen with a lot of the other medications that were out there and taken off the market with the fat blockers and orlistat. And you remember those drugs where people were having accidents on the way home from work. you know they still push those, and then the HCG for whatever reason just I don't know. It's getting popular again though. It's starting to pop up. I'm seeing places are offering it again, so I think it's making a resurgence.
That would be awesome. Yeah, because obviously I see a lot of GLP-1s, and when I know that person is not doing the muscle tone and the food, it's like, man, I wish I had HCG or had it for those hormonally controlled people. But I do want to toot your own horn for a second because I know you say the diet is a big role, but there's a difference. So Simeon's HCG diet was just pretty much saying 500 calories and was super strict, right? Just was a broccoli and chicken and just really strict apples and steak.
Yeah, basically coffee for breakfast. Lunch was chicken, Melba toast, and an apple, and dinner was chicken, Melba toast, out. And they allowed you to do like two, three veggies. So yeah, you're restricted to like five foods. None of it makes any sense. When you look at the foods, it's like, well, I don't know why I chose these. You know, who even eats Melba toast? I mean, it's a British thing, must be. But yeah, I mean, when we did the diet, yeah, we put something together because, you know, our goal was to get people to lose weight. Yeah, we wanted to build the healthy habits, and I'm still a big component of eating small meals daily for metabolism, maintenance of energy, maintenance of lean muscle. So no, we wanted to promote, you know, we did a 750 calorie diet, five small meals daily for metabolism. We put more protein in there because we were always concerned. So we did 60 to 80 grams of protein. The only thing I'd probably say the ACG diet's deficient in is fiber
Yeah.
just because of the low calories and the amount of food, but you can do a supplement for that. I mean, to add that amount kind of up. So, but no, the HCG diet, you know, that we ran is kind of unique. But yeah, it was really designed to stimulate the metabolism because most of the people doing the program don't have a great metabolism in the first place. So,
Hmm.
not eating is not really a good way to get weight loss. So no, we wanted to build the healthy habits, use the HCG to get people to lose weight. But when they're done, now they know what to do. They can follow the five small meals a day. They can follow, you know, they'll add more plant-based or whatever we recommended to kind of do. But yeah, I mean, it's because losing the weight is one story. Maintaining the weight is the hardest part because you're doing it for the rest of your life. Being strict for 4 to 8 weeks is doable, but you got to keep those habits in place. And, you know, and it's easy. It ain't rocket science. Eat the good foods, eat regularly, you know, exercise, which getting people to exercise is probably the hardest thing out there to do compared to anything. If they don't like it. Um, so yeah, that should be a big part of when you're working with people to lose weight is yeah, incorporating those lifestyles. Your goal is to get them to eat healthy, live healthy, so when they're done, they can maintain it, you know. But I tell my clients, you know, hey, they're always welcome back. I see some, I see some
Right?
I've seen some of the same clients over the last decade every year. They put 10 pounds on over boating season, or they come back from Florida and we'll run HCG for 4 weeks. We lose the 10 pounds. They keep it off for the rest of the year. So, I mean, your body's always going to ebb and flow a little bit. It's just those really big fluctuations of weight loss we want to kind of avoid. So,
Perfect. And yeah, thanks for letting us circle back to that because since then we've had the ketogenic diets and the fasting come out as the big crazes that I'm talking people off the ledge on on a daily basis here. And so I can imagine people are like, oh, 500 calories, that's easy. I'm just going to eat my one meal a day, call it good, and I'm going to get this muscle reservation and have all this energy and not feel hungry on the HCG like we're supposed to. And that's not going to work.
people like the fasting diets because it's easy.
Yeah.
Most people are lazy. It's easy to eat one meal a day. It's hard to eat five meals a day. Prepare your stuff. So yeah, people look for easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and easy don't work. Not for weight
Well,
loss.
sometimes it's just not how your body functions. You know, it's not how humans work.
So I know age management started doing the GLP-1s. I know Dr. Ali wasn't too keen on it at first, but she has come around to what the rest of the world wants to. And she's just such an amazing functional doctor too that really cares about how is this doing, what is this doing long term, and is this safe to recommend? Just because it's new and fancy doesn't mean that you and the physicians are going to put it out. So now that you do have it out and you have been seeing people with it for a while, give me some of what you're seeing clinically.
I mean, if you use the drug correctly, we've seen great results and
Mhm.
side effects that you're reading about when people first started using the drug. 'Cause I mean, GLP-1s have been around for diabetes and stuff for quite a while. They just started getting used more for weight loss. So yeah, all the horror stories you hear about people using them, losing all their muscle mass, not able to keep the weight off once they go off them. And that's because it was none of that was guided or structured, and doctors were just writing scripts. People were going off and not eating, but one time a day. These are individuals with low muscle mass in the first place, so they just lost more muscle. Those people are never going to be able to come off the GLP-1 because they ain't got no metabolism. They're not eating right. So yeah, that's kind of the downside. But you can totally avoid that with proper eating, using the drug right, healthy eating. Same thing with side effects. We haven't seen a whole lot of side effects with it. Just because we're doing a low inflammatory diet, we're eating healthy for the gut. Yeah, all the stories you heard of people with GI, yeah, they're still eating McDonald's and they didn't change lifestyles. And it's something that can promote inflammation and slow motility. And then you throw a bunch of bad food. Yeah, there's a very chance and risk of side effects. We've seen I've been using them for about 3 years now with patients. I've probably only had to take like 5 to 10 people off them because of side effects. And most of those were pre-existing GI issues. I had a couple people with eye-based issues that can affect eyesight and stuff. So I had a couple random, pancreatitis post patients, stuff like that. But no, I mean the drug itself, it's a great weight loss drug. I mean, I've had patients that I've worked with over the last 10, 15 years that have seen good weight loss. With the GLP-1s, they've finally gotten to their goal with them. It's one of those drugs that it's just keeping the insulin levels stable and then, suppressing the appetite enough for those individuals. Yeah, it's been a great medication for those people to use. And it's kind of neat because you can use it long term and there's not really any side effects that are associated with it. Um, so yeah, it's not like, when we run HCG, it's a sprint. You got 4 to 8 weeks to lose as much weight as you can. And then after that, you can do it again, but you're taking 6 weeks off. This, you just get on a routine, you stay on it, your body stays in that mode. And if you want, you can use it long term. If you're not having side effects, there's no real negative effects of staying on it other than the cost of it. But for some individuals, that's not an issue. So, yeah, they can utilize. I have a lot of patients come off the drug very successfully. I first titrate them, or we'll do an injection every 2 weeks, and that's worked really well for individuals to cut cost and still use the drug. But when they come off it completely, yeah, I've had a lot of patients be able to maintain it uh, successfully. So no, it's been a great drug. It was just never utilized right. Yeah, it was just like most medication. It was given to the patient. Here you go. See you back in 6 months. No guidance, no structure. So when we did the program, you're right, Dr. Ali and me sat on it for about 6 months, and then we decided we will do it. But patients that were doing it through age management, they were committing to the first 4 months. That's where you titrate. We use semaglutide still, or that's the drug that we chose to use, one of the original GLP-1s. My theory is the less stuff you shut down in the body, the less chance of long-term side effects. So all these new ones that are shutting down every hormone in the gut possible is like, all right, enough's enough. Um, so we made it so patients, if they're coming in, they're meeting with us for 16 weeks. They're going on a structured diet plan. We're doing BIA assessments. We're really emphasizing the protein intake and monitoring that. And I think we've seen really good results with it because they've had guidance, they've had structure, they had the drug to help them lose the weight, but they had the accountability, eating healthy lifestyle habits. So yeah, it's like any of these drugs. If you put it together with a good program and accountability, and that's where you guys come in. The guidance is, yeah, everybody thinks all the importance is on the drug. No, it's you guys working with the patient, keeping them motivated, giving them structure, giving them tips to be successful. So then they stay motivated. Yeah, people lose out. It's still the guidance and the structure and that's the important part. The drug just makes it more successful. But no, that's what we did. We put it all together, and then obviously patients can stay on it after that point. But that's how we decided to use it. And I'm sticking with that. We don't let anyone come in and just use the drug unless they're working with us for 4 months on the lifestyle. No, I think people like the added benefit. We don't charge
Oh,
more.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me back up a second. When Aaron is saying you guys, he's referring to nutritionists, because there's a difference between like real functional medicine physicians or offices who are really going to understand the key points of what a health coach does or a nutritionist does to do those fill in the gap pieces, right? The coaching and the tips and the tricks and the troubleshooting, right? There's been times too, you get into a weight loss and then you're realizing, oh wow, but their gut is wrecked. And now even with this, now they haven't pooped in 5 days. This is not cool. It's good that we catch it. It's good that we understand how to bypass it so we don't get long-term damage and so we don't get those side effects. The other office that I work with now is it's the same. Everyone coming in is going to be meeting with CNSs and nutritionists to really work through all of those troubleshootings. Just in case anyone isn't too sure what the semaglutide or the semaglutide is, so it's the first phase of the GLP-1. So it's antagonizing the GLUT1 transport that is also stabilizing insulin, which is also very different for other weight loss because those are usually going down the central nervous system or the suppression, where this one's actually kind of stabilizing and helping to slow down that metabolic release. But as you mentioned, you got to have to watch that. What I see in practice when I hold my breath when someone comes onto the semaglutide or coming in on Wegovy or any of those, and they're having GI issues on the lowest dose or the second to lowest dose. Those are big red flags of there's something more underlying going on. And if there is anything more underlying going on, that should be a huge red flag on your weight loss journey that, hey, if I don't address this or we don't understand what's going on hormonally or metabolically or within our gut, that the weight loss process could be more challenging, maybe more expensive, maybe more hurtful. And then our long-term results might not be as long lasting as we would want. So even though we talk about all these wonderful options that we can add to our weight loss, the fundamentals of understanding your body, understanding your metabolics, understanding where your hormones are is going to be one of still the main components, the make or break to how much you're going to lose, how fast you're going to lose, how good you're going to feel, and how long it's going to last. So, as Aaron has alluded to, also that's the difference of going to your doctor and saying, "Hey, I want this," and then doing it on your own, or actually coming to an office like Aaron's at Age Management to have that coaching, to have the deep dive. They can also see physicians, right, for a deep dive in blood work, in thyroid, in hormones, to really get that full picture. How important is that, Aaron?
I mean, it's the basis. You're right on. If we have a patient that comes in that has GI issues or lots of underlying inflammation, imbalanced hormones, disrupted circadian rhythms and sleep-based patterns, yeah, those are all things that are going to not really make a weight loss program very successful. Liver overburden, that's why we always used to do cleanses before programs, was to detox liver, kidneys, boost metabolism, bring down inflammation. So yeah, if you don't address any of those variables first, yeah, I mean, you're not going to see as good a results. My thought is the biggest thing that hinders people from losing weight, especially females, is inflammation. There's lots of inflammation that's from all those variables: gut health, hormones, poor lifestyle, lack of exercise, activity. Once you fix that, 3 weeks into a GI program, gut's healed, we're not having that gut permeability, inflammation's down. Look what they're doing. They're losing weight every week. They're feeling better. And then we're able to lose weight and successfully see results. And we can, other protocols start working that didn't work before. Just, you're right. You didn't do a deeper dive and, dig into it. Where traditional medicine, they're probably just going to say, let's put you on another drug for that.
Yep. They're
One
not going to find the why.
one drug didn't work, two drugs works better, and three drugs is the best because, insurance likes that. It's just how the game works. So yeah, you're right. Going to a CNS or someone that's going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. And the good news is now with all these things like your podcast and that, people are not ignorant about this stuff anymore. And that was just the biggest thing. They weren't aware of a lot of the stuff that's available. They weren't aware of looking at gut health. They weren't, aware of liver health, inflammation. Now there's way more research, so people are starting to get more informed on it. So yeah, it's really neat. I mean, functional medicine, how it was, back when you started working with me, well, it was probably 15 years ago or so.
Getting there, yeah.
We were promoting gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and everybody's like, "You're crazy. You can't do that." We're saying, "But don't get your furniture Scotch guarded because the PFAS, well, that's nothing." Now we know 10, 15 years later, yeah, everybody knows that stuff's carcinogenic, it's bad for you. Everybody understands gluten's bad for you now because someone wrote a book, so now it's real. Um, yeah, so I think everybody's just a lot wiser, which makes it great for our industry because I see all kinds of new people, especially younger. Yeah, they're wanting to do this kind of health management over traditional. Plus, the doctors are better. All the young doctors I talk to now that are coming out of school, they're educating themselves on nutrition. So yeah, there was just I think there's just a lot of ignorance out there. But I think nowadays with online and all these things, people are getting way smarter. They're realizing there's more things because we use the GLP-1s. We've had great success with the AOD. AOD 9604 is kind of like the HCG. It does absolutely nothing unless you do a low calorie diet, and then you can see really good results with it. There's some other new peptides that are coming out now. Have you heard of the ones that mimic exercise?
No, educate me.
It's I get the number, everything's not. It's like SSRUP 32. It's an exercise mimetic. It stimulates three different hormones in the body that are stimulated when you exercise. They're doing research on it to say it might be exercise in a pill where you'll get some of the benefit, not all the benefits, but you'll get some of the benefits of exercise on metabolism by taking this peptide. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of new stuff coming out.
Have you tried it? Because I know you love your peptides. Have
Well,
you
I
tried
mean,
this one?
no, my pharmacy guy that I get my peptides from, he's supposed to send me some, but he never did yet. But I will, I'll try it. But I think it's one of those things for me, I don't think I'll get any benefit from it because I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. My system's already stimulated. So I see that working for the individual that never exercises, couch potato. They'll probably get a benefit. I don't think I would get any added benefit because you only get so much benefit, from your body. So I don't think adding it on to someone that's active is going to see anything. Do I think it'd be great for the person that does not ever want to exercise and are super lazy or inactive is probably the better way to say that. Yeah, I think that's the people that would really benefit from that. So I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be like athletic or performance enhancing, but it might make a huge difference for our in sedentary population. So
I-
it'll be interesting.
And I love that you do the body impedance because I know I can check back with you once you do it in like 3 years and we can go through those, be like, sweet, look how much muscle came up, or no, this does absolutely nothing for the muscle. It didn't change anything. So
Yeah,
that will be cool to
that
see.
is an important part.
It's huge. Um, it's huge. I just kind of wanted to circle back when you were talking about the gut and weight loss because I had a memory come back of what first like tied weight loss and gut health together for me. So we had been doing weight loss for I don't know 2 or 3 years at that point. We were just bringing out the gut. So we were going to the conferences, we were in the literature, and we had two sisters come through and they started the HCG, and one sister was just rapid fire, like she was just losing. And the other one was not. And she was so emotional about it. And so I sat there and we started going through all of her food and everything. And she started telling me how tomatoes made her mouth itch and how she couldn't eat peppers. And I'm like, oh, these are all nightshades. I'm like, does your gut burn? And started talking. And we took out all the nightshades. We put in a gut repair. We probably put in a probiotic, and she started losing. It was one of the ahas of like, wow, it could be that simple. Like looking at, even though we had a restricted diet, we tried to leave in all of the vegetables, but for her with her gut issues, the lectins were causing a big barrier. So getting to heal that gut for 2 weeks and putting in those supplements was a game changer to her weight loss. And that just took someone kind of saying, oh, I know what that means. I see what's going on here. If we're having an allergic reaction or we're itchy, the body's in a store state. It's in a protective state. We're not going to get weight loss. There is an operating system that the body has to be in to really release and to get into that flow of weight loss.
And remember food sensitivities. If we had people that weren't losing, we take out common food and sensitivity inflammatory foods, quit eating the eggs. Like you said, we take the nightshades out. I was never big fans on leptins and stuff, so I really didn't ever have those as part of the programs. But moving eggs and nightshades and stuff, man, and that would be the changing point. Yeah, the system's not inflamed. They start losing weight, and those are all touted as healthy foods, so you'd never know on your own to say, hey, I'm not, I'm eating something that's totally healthy, but it's not healthy for my body. It's not, it's not a good choice for me because I'm unique and each person's different. Um, Other than that, so no, I think gut health, and then I think one of the other misunderstood things, which is the easiest thing, is just hydration and water. I think that's another. Most individuals, it's a really limiting factor, and people don't understand how it affects your metabolism. It basically affects everything in your body. Um, and you can account for this too. It's like for some people, it's the hardest thing to get them to do. And I
Yeah.
can't, like, how can you not drink water? Just drink water. You want to do all this stuff. You're going through all this hassle, and you just won't drink water. I don't. So, but it's probably one of the biggest variables. You can do everything else right, and if you're dehydrated daily, you're not going to lose weight. I mean, so.
Yeah. Water is huge, and you're right. That is a on repeat recommendation, and I'm going to ask every single time about the water. I don't think a lot of people understand that water molecules are used in every single function we have. We need it to all of our vitamins, our minerals, our isoflavins, our flavonoids, everything we eat, except for four, right? A, D, E, and K. Those are fat soluble, but everything else is water soluble. And it means you have to dilute to absorb, right? So if we don't have water soluble, that nutrient to let it pass through the cell, you could be eating absolutely perfecto, but still not feel the energy from it. Still not be getting it into the bloodstream, still be getting the headaches and the low energy, even though your food is correct. And not only is it used for uploading into the cell, but for any inflammation. So if you're inflamed, you even need more water because that's your healing power that's moving all of your macrophages and good stuff around. And then you need it for detox. Everyone knows if you're constipated, number one thing to rule out would be water. And water, H2O, we only have one electron to let go inside of a chemical reaction and you don't get it back, meaning you need a water molecule for all of these different functions. That water is no longer used, it's going to be moved out. So we constantly need more water coming in to make the body go.
I remember we used to educate the patients a lot on weight loss that it's a process. It's not just burning calories and you lose weight. But no, you got to release the stored body fat. You got to process it, utilize it in the liver, break down the fatty acids. All the metabolites that your body needs to get rid of need to be flushed out through the kidneys. And people don't understand that if you're not supporting the back end and getting rid of bad stuff built up in the body, your body's going to shut down the front end of weight loss and you're not going to see results. So that's why I used to always tell people if you're peeing all day, you're seeing weight loss. You're going to lose weight because you're kicking out the bad stuff. Your metabolism, the machine can process more body fat, and do it more efficiently. So I just think that's when you're trying to get someone to do something, try to educate them and get them to understand how it actually works. And then a lot of times they'll do it better if you can kind of give them a little something to keep in their brain to think, oh yeah, I'm not pushing out the bad stuff.
Exactly. And I think a good picture to show people is right when they just start doing a little bit of a cleanse or upload that water, and you're like, oh my God, I lost 5 pounds this week. It was all inflammation, but you're kicking out all that bad. You can see that huge number. The biggest number we see usually is in that cleanse, kicking out all the bad. And that's what sets up the positive weight loss as we move forward week by week. Now, one more burning question that people have when it comes to weight loss is the plateau. What's up with the plateau? When does that happen? How do we get through it? Because it's inevitable. At some point, we are going to have what we call a plateau. And I'm not finding it as severe on the GLP-1s as when you do it naturally. But either way, the body can only have a capacity for so long to lose so much before it's going to have to stop and reevaluate what's going on. But talk to us a little bit about the plateau, because we can't talk about weight loss without talking about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta remember, there's millions and thousands of things going on in your body on a regular basis, and we've always told patients the number one thing to improve health is to lose weight. Brings down inflammation, blood pressure goes down, A1C goes down, all your markers in your blood work, homocysteine, everything improves when you decrease body fat. Weight loss is getting your body into a mode where it can very effectively do all those processes and lose weight. But when things adjust, your body has to readapt and balance out again. So for a lot of patients, that might take 2, 3, 4 weeks for their body to kind of readjust to the new blood pressure, new levels in the body. It's managing things. E- There's not a set time, but for a lot of individuals, 2, 3 weeks is not an uncommon plateau. But I tell my patients, I said, every patient that I have had that's been successful with losing the amount of weight they want are the ones that stuck with it through 1 or 2 plateaus, and you'll start losing weight again. So you can't freak out. I have people, Aaron, I didn't lose weight for 2 days. I'm like, all right, yeah, I don't care about you. That's no big deal. Keep at it. You're gonna have days, you're gonna have a week where you don't lose weight. You're gonna have this or that. So, but no, plateaus, I think, is just a way of the body rebalancing itself out. And some individuals don't have them. I have some that lose like clockwork. I have other individuals that'll lose 2 pounds and they won't lose for a week. Then they lose in steps. So a lot of that, I think, is just genetics, metabolism, those kind of things. But you can get through them. Some patients, you got to do something a little bit extra or do something a little more. Most people are just too impatient. They think you got to change stuff up all the time. And I think that just hurts it because they might lose weight and then they don't lose weight for a week and they think they got to change everything they're doing, and they're basically causing more damage than just sticking with it. Let your body get the mode. Don't have to change anything. Just be more structured and more consistent. And then eventually the weight loss will start up again, and then you start seeing that progress. But a lot of times too, they might not. You might need to drink more water. You might need to change some things up with metabolism for some exercise. So yeah, that's where working with someone like a CNS or something. Yeah, we can go through lifestyle and say, oh, these are the things that we can improve on to get through this plateau. Things that we can change. I'm not a big fan of changing much in the diet. I mean, I see the best weight loss when people keep it simple, eat a lot of the same foods. The body gets into a routine, it can process them well. Your gut bacteria knows those foods. I tell people all the time, don't be eating a bunch of different foods you don't always usually eat. Don't, that's what a lot of people do. They want to start eating healthy and they'll start eating all these weird foods they read about online because they're superfoods and they're healthy. And I'm like, you got no gut bacteria that's ever been introduced to that. It's a totally foreign object to your body. It's going to promote more damage because it doesn't recognize it. Just eat the good food your body's used to, you've grown up on. Don't try a lot of variety, eat consistency. And then yeah, consistency is the key to everything. And I tell that to my weight loss clients. I tell that to my training clients. I said there's no secret weapon. There's lots of tools, but it's consistency. If you're doing this today and you're doing the same thing 6 months from now, you're going to be in a lot better shape and where you want to be than if you're not consistent with it. Um, and don't feel sorry for yourself because you're not losing. Keep doing what you're doing, keep exercising, keep drinking the water, stress free, and then everything will start moving again. So,
Yeah, 1,000%. I usually say, like, I've seen women, depending, right, though, but most of them, they're stopping between like 20 and 30 pounds. So if we're getting close to that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the plateau. It's cool. Men, you can usually see them get a little bit more before the body kind of stops. And the way I explain it is like we just went through a huge shift for the body. So now the body's saying, wait a second, I'm not used to losing 20 to 30 pounds in 5 to 10 weeks, right? That's a lot. So now I'm going to kind of put on the brakes, go through our checks and balances, make sure we're cool, make sure we don't got any other issues, come up with my new processing. And then it goes through a flush. But in that time, it's really pivotal that you do stay consistent because you're reprogramming your brain. Your brain is your control center and it's always setting up habits. It's always setting up systems. That way, our frontal cortex can keep everything clear so we can make our decisions every moment of every day. And so, when you are changing your entire metabolic structuring of how we're going to process food and inflammation and all of that, that takes time. And so you're telling the body to reprogram in a way. So if you stick with that way, the body says, cool, this is our new pathway. I'm going to align with it. It's going to go. And then we get a whole nother layer after that. But in that plateau, if you're like, well, this isn't working anyways, and I stopped and you revert back to old patterns, your body's like, haha, I told you we didn't have to make all of these huge changes inside of the body. It would have been a lot of energy for no good if we're just going to solidify back into our old habits and our old patterns. It's a really what we're trying to do here in functional medicine or weight loss or even with a supplement is really change the way the biochemistry is working and really to amplify and to support it. And so those biochemical changes take time. The body just doesn't do them overnight. We need to build those changes and we need to let the body know that these changes are something we want to continue. So the body will be your best friend. It will get on board, but you got to lead it there. So you can lead it through that plateau.
And I think you're right with the mental part. Having a positive attitude going through it. You've worked with clients. You have the ones that are excited, they're positive, they know they're doing health, they're loving it. We see great weight loss. And then you have the ones where it's like, oh, this food's not on there. They're negative about everything. And you see it there. Those people that are negative and stressed, they don't lose weight like the people that are positive. So having a positive mental attitude that you're doing this to be healthier, you're not restricting, it's not a restrictive diet, you're still eating healthy food, positive thing, you're feeling better. Yeah, having a positive mental attitude going through this makes a big difference too. I mean, that's where I think, it helps working with someone that keeps you accountable, can be like, stick in there, and then I know everyone's different. I know, people used to not like to work with me as much. They say Aaron's too strict and won't do that. And then other people
Do you
are,
remember my past or do you remember my nickname?
yeah, I do. I think it was good. I mean, you're supposed to be strict. That's what they're coming for you to do is to tell them what to do. And if they're not doing it right, call them out on it. You don't have to be mean about it, but I call people out. And I'm like, hey, you're not losing weight because you're not doing this, or that. Well, why are you not doing this? You got to put some accountability on them. But that's our job to wake them up and because they know it, they're just in denial and they don't want to admit it. So that's your job to motivate them and make them aware of it that, hey, you can do this, and do this. And then when they do, they come back the next week and they've been successful and they've got a little more self-confidence. They're feeling better about themselves. And yeah, everything.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they could have just gave up. Poor me. I'm going to go back to my old habits. I'll try it again next year. One of those
pretty
things.
much that defeated. Yeah. But to
Yeah.
work through it and to work with someone, it can be very empowering
Yeah.
and
And
very eye-opening.
I have a good example. I just had a patient, a lot of health issues, younger individual, going to start the HCG program, and then signed up for it, went home, went and talked to Google doctor, and then she's like, oh, Aaron, I can't do this, HCG is horrible for everything, I can't do this. And I said, all right, get off online, you're not going to find any good information. I can tell you, I've worked with plenty of patients with PCOS and all these other. HCG is not going to hurt you. And then luckily the patient did the program, lost like 20 pounds over the 5 weeks, feels great. Most of her side effects are gone. A little bit.
Yay.
I knew you'd see good results if we made you stick with it, and she did. And I mean, I think it changed her life. And so yeah, we got to be a good cop, bad cop sometimes, and that's your job as a CNS or nutritionist is getting people to do what they want to do it. When they wouldn't have drove into my facility an hour away, came in and talked to one of my nutritionists, decided to start a program if they didn't really want to do it. And they got scared, went home, started reading things online that was changing their mind, but we made them stick with it, and in the end, they're healthier and they made the right choices. So
Yeah. But it helps when they come to someone who's been doing it for 20 years, 30 years to help them coach through it, right?
Working with people, I've always been a big fan of doing my own things. I've always tried to make up my own diets and kind of my own individual kind of, that's just kind of what I've liked to do. But yeah, it takes time through experience and what works and doesn't work. And, you learn some stuff from people, and that's just part of the career.
Yep. Part of it. You just keep growing. Any other burning tips or tricks you want to give the audience on weight loss? And then I am looking for one myth you may want to debunk when it comes to weight loss or one of the weight loss modalities.
I mean, I think the biggest myth is that it's you have to exercise to lose weight. I hate to say that, but you don't have to exercise to lose weight. I actually have more people stop exercising to lose weight than I make exercise.
Fair enough.
The exercise is really your best weight management tool, or it's towards the back end of weight loss. So I think that's the biggest myth, is because people don't understand exercise is stress. And if you're an unconditioned, sedentary based person, low muscle mass, your body doesn't have the ability to recover. And you start exercising and you're just putting all the stress and cortisol and, catabolic stuff in your body, and then you're going to cut a bunch of calories and put your body under more catabolic stress. And you're just creating this perfect storm. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to see any weight loss. I always tell people, don't worry about the exercise right now. That's something we'll get into. First, let's start simple. Let's, start easy, eat real foods, drink lots of water for a week or two, cut out all the junk. Then we'll get more structured with the diet with a specific caloric range, on a structured plan. Make sure you're drinking your gallon of water, getting your sleep. Then maybe about 5, 6 weeks in, yeah, now I want you to start exercising. And then, but same thing, 3 times a week with weights, 20 minutes is enough to stimulate. You don't have the ability to handle more than that. Still a big fan of HIIT training, 20 minutes of cardio, leave it at that. So less is the rest. I think that's probably the biggest myth, I think, in the weight loss is where people push the exercise part of it. And I think that scares a lot of people away because, like I said, I think I looked last time, I think 5 to 10% of the population works out regularly. Um, so it's a very small percentage of people that actually like to exercise. So no, I think that's a big part that scares a lot of people away from losing weight, is that myth that you have to do all this exercise and put all this other effort into it, when in full circle, yeah, it's probably doing more harm for a lot of individuals at first. But yeah, after they lose the weight, they're healthier, they feel better, inflammation's down, then yeah, they're gonna love the exercise, and you have to do it to maintain the weight loss long term. Um, so yeah, obviously it's still very important, but I think that's one of the biggest myths, is that you have to have that extra exercise or activity, um, in there.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. And probably because I learned from you, I learned from the best. But yeah, I usually have them stop too. I may say, let's do I call it a shower routine. So right before you get in the shower, you do as many wall push-ups as you can do, as many squats as you can do, as many standing side bends or twists as you can do, and we're done. Right? Like enough to stimulate, not enough to break down, not enough to cause stress. We're not having to think about, I got to go to the gym, I got to change my clothes, I got to put in my work day, I got to get all that brain stuff out. Just do a tiny bit just to stimulate, not to break down, not to cause the stress, just to get kind of more of the habit and to feel good, those endorphins, and call it good. Get in the shower, be done for the day. And then we'll work into growing that later when things start to balance out. So, Erin, this was amazing. Thank you so, so much for joining us today and to giving us your insights on weight loss and the modalities and the tips and tricks. It was wonderful.
Now, I'm glad you had me on. Like you said, I'm glad of what you've become in this industry. I think you're very educated, and I'm proud of what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Erin. Thanks. Well, I appreciate it so much for everything, for being here on the podcast and off the podcast, for me to poke at and geek out with. And I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much again, Erin, for sharing your wisdom and insight when it comes to weight loss. As I said in the interview, people travel from all over West Michigan to get to age management. And Erin's thorough expertise is part of the reason why. Functional medicine continues to grow and get better because of people like Erin in the field. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in today for this episode of CNS Unfiltered. If you're struggling to lose weight, you've tried everything and nothing's working, there's probably a root cause that needs to be explored. And clinical nutrition and functional medicine are here to be your mentors. If you're local to the Michigan or Grand Rapids area, or you're nearby in the Midwest, check out Age Management of West Michigan at agemanagementmi.com. If you're not local, you can check out my Burn and Balance program through Innate Clinical Nutrition, which has a lot of the same practices and principles. If you're a future or current CNS or functional medicine practitioner, a future or current functional medicine patient, or a future or current medical professional, we want to hear from you. If you have questions, comments, or success stories, send them to cnsunfiltered@gmail.com for a chance to be featured on a future podcast. If you're a clinical nutritionist or other functional medicine practitioner and you're interested in being interviewed, click the link in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe whenever you listen so you don't miss a new episode. And share this with a client or classmate who might need to hear it. Once again, I'm Jena Salisbury, and remember to listen to your gut.